Hello and welcome to another episode of ADH Tea podcast with me, Sarah, Willie Mama, intuitive empowerment coach, disabled mum of 3, watch this space, and author and speaker.
And me, Donna, technical swan, seems, and tea sorcerer at Unravel Tea. Join us as we talk about
fixing ourselves of ailments and the old debate of whether we are in fact old or not.
Age is nothing but a number, but how old do you feel, I suppose. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sarah, when it's in your cup, what is on your mind?
No surprises for guessing. I'm still on my orange juice train. What's on my mind is the sheer audacity of people telling us that we're old when we are in the first flush of youth still. And I, for one, am definitely not even halfway through my life yet. And I will not be so for at least another 3 or 4 years. That's definitely a topic that gets me very lit up very fast when someone calls me old. What about you, Donna? Oh,
I have got tea infused in fizzy water. It's naturally sparkling fizzy water, which is very important. Just have to note that because to me anyway, forced carbonation tastes of carbon dioxide. It's like a weird, like metallic
yeah,
taste to it.
I
Um,
agree.
so yes, fizzy water. Also have to say it's little fizzy water, and it is the only one that I can find that's naturally sparkling at the moment. So I don't know
You
what
know,
the
we're
situation.
not sponsored by Lidl, but I too drink the Lidl sparkling water. And I was just thinking our listeners have been treated to some ASMR there when you're opening that.
But yeah, what's on my mind? Yeah, being being told that I'm old and things might never get fixed. So
Whoa, whoa. Nobody can see my face. My jaw just hit the table. So we need some context here before I
okay.
blow a fuse.
So context. Whenever I have like an injury or something like that, I always search for a way to fix myself essentially because there's the waiting lists on the NHS for physio is so high, and if I can fix it myself, why not? I've got a couple of YouTube videos, well, not videos, like channels who are really good. They're physios normally, and they actually explain why this works and you know what sensations you might feel, and it's just it works really well for me anyway. So this time I've actually had a problem with my back for actually when was it? It's almost been a year now actually. And my usual go-to exercises were not working at all, which is weird because usually I notice a difference within a day. So I was like, this is not normal. So it caused me to go down a bit of more of a rabbit hole, an extreme rabbit hole. And I learned a lot about the psoas and I learned a lot about muscles in the hips and everything like that. And I was like, is this too much? I'm not trained in this. I need to speak to a professional. So I went to physio. I was actually really lucky because when I phoned up, they had an appointment for like 2 days later and it was a cancellation. So that was great.
Mhm.
But yeah, I showed up and with a situation like this, I don't see the point in hiding things because how are they supposed to help you if they don't know the full picture? But that also goes in, so makes me go in as my completely unmasked self. So I just go and be like, info dump everything I have learned, give them all the information, realize they have no um kind of marker as to how I feel pain. So when I'm talking about sensation, it would probably be the same as if somebody was talking like on a normal person's pain scale who's not experienced chronic pain as I did with digestive problems, then it would be probably a normal person's pain scale, probably about a 4 I was on, but in mine I was like it's just sensation to me. I can feel it, I'm aware of it. So I forgot about that part, so I had to clarify. And I always go in, I'm like, I can fix this. This is fixable. Just give me exercise. I'll do the exercises. And she turned around to me and she was like, well, I'm noticing your age, and you might not be able to fix it. It might just be the way your body is now.
Whoa, back up here. Your age? You're not like 90. What?
So
Oh,
that was fun. I wasn't sure how to respond to that.
Um, just, I don't know why this is important, but it is. Was she like 15, the person who was treating her?
No, no, she was probably like, maybe 10 years older than me. She was probably like early 50s, mid
Oh
50s-ish.
my God, that makes it even worse. So she's given up on herself and her own life, and now she's gonna.
Yeah, it was really strange. It was really strange. Um, because she actually, I could tell that she was very much like, oh no, no, it's just your body change. It's just that it just is. You're just gonna have to deal with the fact that that's now your normal. And I was like, nope, I am gonna do the exercise. And actually, when I got home, she actually phoned me about an hour afterwards. I don't know what had gone on in her head, but she was like, oh, I'm just making sure that like we didn't have any wires crossed. She was like, she wasn't apologizing for saying that I was old, but there was obviously something that was niggling at her.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, she basically checked in with me afterwards, which was
Hmm.
nice. I have to say that was really,
Yeah,
really
in
nice.
fairness, I have to hand it to her. Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's fair
mean,
enough that
not everybody. Yeah,
she's
not.
reflected and she's
Mhm,
gone, oh,
mhm.
maybe that came out wrong, or maybe I
Yeah,
shouldn't have been so blunt or whatever. Oh, wow.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, in
yeah.
fairness, that most people don't do that. So,
No, I thought it was quite nice, and she also because I go into let's fix it mode, and I like hyper focus on doing. I will do the exercises every hour, and I will do the thing, and I will set an alarm, and I will do the exercises every hour.
mhm.
Well, she told me not to do that.
Yeah.
She's like, you're only allowed to do these twice a day. You're not allowed to do them anymore. You cannot do them for longer. You have to only do them twice a day. I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay, just two alarms then. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was interesting.
Yeah, it's really funny. I probably will need to divulge my things that I dropped clues about before for proper context of this. So I have, as you know, or as you may not know, three kids. So age 8, 6, and 4 at the moment. And then in my head our family was complete. In my heart, I wasn't ready for it to be over yet, basically. So about 2 or 3 years ago, I was like, I would love one more child. I would love one more child, and I was really like hoping and hoping that it would happen. It wasn't happening. So then I started to go, okay, I'm getting old. This is it now. I'm getting old.
You were thinking you're getting old, or were other people saying you were getting
I
old?
know I
Where was
was
that coming
thinking I
from?
was getting old because things that would have normally happened, by now weren't happening anymore and stuff, and things were getting more painful, and just life was feeling like more of an effort physically than it ever had before. And I was like, yeah, this is old age now coming to get me. And I really started to feel old. And I even convinced myself that my eyesight was failing, my hearing was like I was like this is what my granda felt like. I was like, life is just becoming quieter and duller, and just like, all my senses are just slowing down, like waving me goodbye, basically. And I was really starting to like feel it. And then just everything was painful. Everything was sore. And pains that I'd had when I was in my chronic pain era were starting to resurface again. And I was like, this is it now. I'm knackered. I'm on the scrap heap. I'm nothing better than glue at this point. This is it. Like, I'm done. And then from a female health point of view, things were stopping. And I was like, oh, this is it definitely. Like, this menopause, here I come. Like,
I remember you mentioning that to
here
me
we go.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I actually felt like brain fog was like getting severe, and I think this is what they mean. This is why so many women don't get diagnosed with ADHD until their 40s, and
Hmm.
because everything's exacerbated. And I was on this like downward spiral, and I know we've talked on as well about being more aware of things that are happening in your body than the average person,
Hmm.
and I was definitely like, I could almost hear like the creaking inside my body going, "Arr," like the brakes are coming on here. This is we're next station is the final stop kind of thing. It's like, yeah, this is no fun. And then like I was fully convinced that I was menopause. Like it even bypassed perimenopause, straight crashed into menopause. And the husband said to me, I don't think you're behaving like someone who's menopausal. I think you might be pregnant. And I was like, cop on, you're just being a smart ass. There's no way, like, there's no way I would know. I would know if I was. And he was like, you really are behaving like you did before. So he's like, I really would feel better if you would go and do a test. And I was like, okay, I'll do one just for your peace of mind. But I know I am definitely not pregnant. This is
Mhm.
not even a thing. People my age don't get pregnant. Like, are you insane? And so I found a test in the back of the drawer, did the test, came up positive. I was like, it's probably faulty because it's out of date. It's not, this isn't right. And he
You're
was like,
denying this test,
I
even
was
at that point.
total denial, yeah. And he was like, I bloody knew it. I knew it. And then I was like, no, look, it's faulty. It's a dodgy test. He's like, you stay there and go to the shop to get another one. So off he went, came back with a test. I did it. Bang, again, positive. I was like, oh, okay. And it was so strange because not even one day that morning when I did the first, like before I did the test, I was like, my body's shutting down. I'm old. I'm menopausal. Then all the pregnancy symptoms just came online, bang, straight away, like within seconds of doing the thing. I was starting to be sick. I was like, smells were really intense. Like I'd be halfway through a cup of coffee and it would turn my stomach. And I was like, oh my God. So there's a lot of it is psychological.
Mm,
And I think in terms of doctors and stuff, I think they need to be really careful about what they say to people. Because especially if you trust the doctor and you take,
mm,
like, you can take their word as gospel and
mhm.
then start to almost manifest the symptoms and manifest that reality. I love that you're kind of almost like, well, like me to some degree, where it's like I'm defiant. Someone tells you, and you're like, no, that's not my reality. I'm not going to do. But it was so crazy for me how within a 5 minute period, I was like, my body was shutting down. It was over. To there's a lot of life left in me, and this is actually quite scary. I've got to go on this merry-go-round again. Now, I definitely am feeling it a lot more this time than I did the previous one. So I definitely know that it's not. I think there's only like a 5% chance or something of getting pregnant naturally over the age of 40. So it's pretty crazy from that point of view. This is not a normal state to be in for someone of my age, but
Stop saying of your age. Stop having all these comments, Sarah.
no, but like I mean, let's be real. Like scientifically, 5% chance of getting pregnant over 40. Like that's not a big number. Of course, I'm going to be the one that's like going, oh, I'm going to defy the odds and do the things and push my body to the absolute limit. Of course, that's me. But I really am feeling it much more, and I'm far more exhausted. I feel like I'm far more sick than I was. Probably not, but it feels worse than it was.
But
But
it also the all the incident, all the situation with like no power and all that sort of stuff, that's
yeah,
gonna drain you a lot. So I don't think that you can
yeah,
attribute it all to this. I don't think
yeah,
that
that's true.
that's
And I mean, the other side of the coin is I'm over halfway through now as well. Like, so I've got this far. I'll see it through to the end. But like for me, what was so insane was within that 5 minute window of doing that test, I went from being game over to like like I got another lease of life almost, and it
no
was
glue for you yet.
crazy. Like it's just crazy, and like, but yeah, here we are halfway through another July birthday heading our way, which is very bad project management on our part. Three
Hmm.
July birthdays, but we are where we are. And yeah, it's all good. I just wish I could sleep because sleep is definitely not abundant at the moment, and it's kind of key to my well-being is sleep, and it's
Hmm.
just not happening at the minute. So I'm hoping that returns for at least a brief window before summer. Apart from that, it's all good.
What was your story off the back of that about being told you're old?
My husband went to the barber's today. The three boys were getting their haircut, and the barber said, our youngest, he said, see the baby of the house? And Danny was like, yeah, for now. But, um, there's another one incoming pretty soon. And the barber was like, what? how old is she? She's pregnant again. How old is she? And he was like aghast at this. And Danny told him how old I was, and then he's like, "That's the same age as me," and he was even more horrified. And I was like, "Yeah, well, so what?" Like, but yeah, and of course that made me really define. I was like, I know, I mean, I know the guy, so I know he didn't mean it in a bad way, or like, and I didn't really take it bad, but I was kind of like, how dare people say things like that, and like, but
But it is a thing. I mean, people have these ideas of, oh no, this you're old over whatever age, but I've also noticed that I don't even know if I sort of have an idea of, oh, this person's really old or whatever, but the concept of being old gets older the more old the old
yeah,
the,
yeah,
the more years you have behind you.
100%, yeah. But also, like, I think people are genuinely living longer now
Mm.
than they did. So, like, old isn't 60 anymore, where it would have been. Like,
Hmm.
you would have been well old at 60 back in the day. And, like, I firmly, like, genuine, like, I said it as a joke, first of all, and then the more I thought about it, I was like, no, I really do want to. I want to live to 100. Like, I really, really do. I don't know if it's actually a scientific study or just a nice thing on the internet, but the thing about like the more kids you have, the more likely you are to live to a certain age. So let's test it out. But this is definitely the last one. Just yeah, hold me to this, everybody, if you hear me say it. Like, this is it. Because no, you're right, though. Like, my kids think Danny and I are ancient and
Hmm.
have done for a long time, whereas we still think we're like teenagers. Mentally, we're teenagers. Of course, we're not. Yeah, it's so funny.
Have there been other times that people have suggested that you're old other than kids? I don't think that really counts.
I can't think of any that really jarred me, but I
Mm.
do think sometimes people kind of make you old, almost make themselves feel better about their own aging. Like, they sort of bring you into the same bracket as well. If they feel old themselves, they'll drag you into the same bracket and tar you with the same brush.
Do you know what's quite interesting is that I don't really get that. It might be because it might be my choice of people or the people that come and speak to me because I've had people, they've been talking about something and they'll make a cultural reference and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. But it's like they if it was a peer of theirs, they would have understood. And I remember there was somebody that I worked with, and she found out how old I was, and she was like, "What? I thought you were like in your early 30s at the very most, probably late 20s." And
Yeah,
she's like 24 or something like that. And then she was like, "Well, what skincare do you do?" I always get skincare. What
yeah,
do you do? I'm like, "Well, I drink a lot of tea."
yeah. You definitely are more youthful appearance and just personality and everything than I am. I feel like for
Less
sure.
responsible, maybe.
No,
I don't trust her with anything. She's
I would have. I always thought that you were younger than me. So when I was pleasantly surprised when you said that we were pretty much the same age, but I was like,
I'm
oh,
actually older than you, so
not by much, maybe a few months. Yeah, definitely your skin is insane, and just that's SPF, isn't it?
oh yeah, that as well, yeah.
See, again, I do it when I can be bothered, when I remember, and that's my life to a T. I have all the good things in place, but I'm not consistent with them. So
No, using SPF is a huge, huge thing. I mean, I've used it probably since I was like early 20s. I've
yeah,
used it. I didn't know, I think at that time, because obviously the internet wasn't massively easy to navigate, I
yeah,
didn't know as much as I do now. So I've got like full broad spectrum, what's it called? Protection sunscreen, and I've got one that I have for winter, and I've got one that I've got for summer.
mm,
And they do slightly different things. Like the winter one's more moisturizing, and the summer one's a lot lighter. Yeah, I've done that. I mean, even when I was younger, I always used to hide from the sun.
mm,
So I always used to go in the shade and everything like that. It's just, I don't know what it was. I just, yeah,
yeah.
when go in the sun,
No,
it's too hot. I can't deal with heat.
it definitely shows. Like, cause I have a lot of like sunspots and just wrinkles and just poor Daisy said to me this morning, she's like, "Oh, Mummy, what's wrong? Your eyelids are all wrinkly." And I was like, "I'm just tired." But like, I was really tired because I hadn't slept or anything. And I think I rubbed my eyes, and then she was like, "Oh, Mum, your eyelids are all wrinkly. What have you done?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm just exhausted, fine." She's like, oh, just give me a hug and everything's just so nice. She's like, it's okay, mommy, it'll be fine. But she my wrinkly eyelids scared her this morning. I probably have felt my age more than people actually saying it to me. And all the pains and aches and things that I was feeling before, don't feel them now. Obviously, I have different discomfort right now,
Yeah.
but it's psychologically is 90% of it, I think. And it's
Yeah.
you don't feel old.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that kind of irked me. I think that's the best way. I wasn't annoyed. I was more like, what? Did you actually say that to me with the physio?
Yeah,
And if I had just accepted it, it could actually manifest in my body as well. You know what I mean? It could actually start happening. So
yeah,
I actually think that's a really bad. They shouldn't say that, essentially, you know.
definitely not. I had a doctor say to me once, well-meaning, when I was maybe 11, 10, 11. In fact, I'm pretty sure I was 11 because I was going wanting to go on to secondary school, grammar school, and the school I wanted to go to, there was loads and loads and loads of stairs in it, and they couldn't put a lift in because there was no ground floor as such, so they couldn't put. And I mean, it was back in early 90s, so the lifts and things weren't as advanced as they are now. So I was like, look, I want to go to the school. I'm going to walk it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to like put my body to the test, basically, and do it. And the doctor, the consultant said to me, for me to do something and for, like, say, you to do something for argument's sake, or a fully able bodied person to use that phrase, takes me 4 times more energy to do the thing than it would for you or whatever. And I really took that as being like, right, this is going to be my mantra. I'm going to live by this now. And then I became a lazy toe rag. And I was like, just go and do that for me, will you? Because takes you 4 times less energy than it does
You
for.
did live by it. You just kind of used it in a different way.
I take it to my advantage. And if I then did something that I knew was pushing my body to the limit, I would give myself full permission to be exhausted for 2 or 3 days afterwards. But it was pure, like, it was in my head. Whereas now I don't have time to be exhausted because, yeah, I can be exhausted, of course, but the kids still need looking after, all the things, all the jobs still need doing. All like, don't get me wrong, my husband's great; he does a lot, but there's still jobs that are mine that I need to do
Hmm.
as a fully grown adult, responsible for other humans, and it doesn't faze me. Whereas because I just went, that 4 times thing, it's a load of rubbish. Like I don't accept that. Don't subscribe to it anymore. And my energy levels readjusted accordingly to me going, that's rubbish.
Hmm.
But for 2 decades plus, 3 decades, I lived by that and went, yeah, this is fact.
Hmm.
But it doesn't have to be unless you want it to be.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
that's what I was saying about, if you really respect the doctor, they need to be very responsible with that respect and be very careful what they say to you, because if a belief or if a fact, for want of a better word, doesn't empower you and inspire you, then don't take it as fact. It's so damaging and dangerous.
Yeah, but no, I'm just not gonna subscribe to the fact that I'm old because I'm gonna fix this.
No, and you have to be with me to celebrate our 100th birthdays together. So, yeah.
I'll have eye wrinkles then as well.
Yeah, you wrinkly eyelid. You probably won't actually. Yeah. The kids actually energize me and give me life. I hate to think how miserable and how much of an miserable old bag I'd be if I didn't have the kids. Because yeah, they do literally give me life, and they give me a reason to laugh every single day. Like no matter how bad things are, we can laugh, and I think that keeps me younger. So I hate to hate to think how old I would look if I didn't have them.
Interesting take on it. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fair. That's
and
fair.
they've all been good sleepers as well, so can't even blame them for lack of sleep. I'm the one who's lying in bed looking over at them in the cot at night, me wide awake, them fast asleep. People say sleep when the baby's sleeping, and I'm like, yeah, but I have to watch them. Yeah, I'm one of those crazy people. Thank you so much for listening. Today we talked about aging, the aging process, how much of the aging process is forced upon us by society and how much is psychological, and that age is really just a state of mind for a lot of it. And also, I revealed a secret that wasn't really a secret, and talked about how doctors and medical professionals or professionals in general need to be very responsible with the trust that we place in them, and how things that they say to us can become our reality unless they are very responsible and we're very careful with what we believe.
Or unless we're very defiant and we just say, nope, I'm not doing that,
Yeah,
which
like
is what we
online.
do.
Yeah.
So you can find us across on Threads via ADHT the podcast, also on Instagram, which I keep forgetting about. So go to Threads. And you can find me across on Unravel Tea, Instagram and Threads mostly. And Sarah can be found on Wheelie Mama on TikTok. If you would like to give us any feedback or anything, please do so. It would be amazing because it reaches other people, and we may also read out some of the feedback we get as well, which would be exciting. So thank you again, and we will be back next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.